Thank you. Well, very humbled, grateful, to go full circle where you began your career, to get back. Somewhat emotional. A lot of people to thank. I look at my high school coaches, John Dorenzo, Lee Klingensmith, Dom Del Torio, guys that I started my coaching career, Dick Cromwell, Toledo St. Francis. I go to college and the relationships you build, and it started here with Jim Tressel in 1991 to Matt Campbell, working with him at Iowa State, to Luke Fickle, who I consider my best friend, and just being able to develop those relationships. I look at the communities I was able to serve here locally, Springfield local, Salem City Schools, West Branch local, the whole valley. So for me, the journey has been the destination, and for me, developing those relationships that I'm excited to serve the Mahoning Valley as the next head football coach at Youngstown State University. So, like I said, it's emotional because I look back in time and I wish my parents, who pop popcorn for home football games and basketball games, I wish they could see it, but they're probably looking down and very proud, very proud. So, again, I'm not emotional. Probably anyone could say I'm not, but so I'm not. So you caught me at a weak moment. So, again, I'm honored to be here and serve this community. And, the number one thing, I had a great opportunity to go meet because I believe it's players first. We got to do a great job of making sure we give our players the resources, the best coaches, and we got to do a great job in developing those players. We got to be different than the teams we play. And how do we do it? They're number one, to be able to go in there. I told them, it's about trust and communication. That's got to be built over time. I don't want it right now. I got to go earn it with those guys. And how do I earn it? I got to build relationships with them. I got to sit down. I got to know what's on their mind. I would hope that the players that I've coached in my past would say that that's the number one thing they'd say is that I love my football players, I take care of them, and I want to see them succeed. And I got to earn that over the next 6 to 8 months.
Can you talk about how special this is for you? I mean, this journey to come back home. I mean, obviously, it's bred it in you. It's in your blood, this university. Yep. What's this mean to you to come back here?
You're not going to get a tear. I got through that. But it is. I mean, when you look back, you always want it to be a right fit. To sit here and say 5 years ago, would I think that I'd be the head football coach at Youngstown State? I didn't. I was on a journey. I had to make tough decisions and get back into college football and see the turn, help that first year at Iowa State with Matt, and then help and go assist Luke. To me, it's been serving those guys. So, I tried to be unselfish and try to serve others. But when this opened, there's probably not a job in America that I'd want more. I don't know if there's a job in America that I would step away from what I had at the University of Cincinnati. So for me, this was the right place at the right time. And Luke would always say, just make sure you're running to it and not running away from something. And I was running to it. And to be able to come home where it all started and see familiar faces, I couldn't be happier.
You have a lot of them here with you right now. To see that support, to have the support from the home base of your family and friends, how special is that for you?
It is. I mean, we started coaching when I was the head coach at Springfield Local. My brother Tom, who's the head coach at Stowe High School now, we got to work together. He was my offensive coordinator. I see people here that I either coached with in the past or I built relationships, whether when they were in high school. I have guys here that I coached in college. So for me, it's I hope if someone asks, what's been your path? And people ask me that. I go in high school and they look at my resume and they're like, man, how were you able to do this? And I tell them, build relationships. And how do you do that? I believe I was a good listener. I believe I worked hard, and I believe that they had trust in me. So I think that would probably be the most important thing, and to see that support is special for me to be here standing at the podium. So I'm just excited to get started and to be able to go in and talk to the players. Again, that was special to me, but now we got to get to work. And I told them, the Youngstown way to me is, we got to go out and earn it. Nothing's given to us. We got to go take it. We got to own it. What do I mean by that? When we turn on the camera and we watch and film, we got to own what we put on that field. And then the last thing is you got to represent that block Y, and you have it on your chest, and we got to represent it and put a great quality product on the field and represent the Mahoning Valley.
Doug, even though you were gone, I'm sure you still kept tabs on what was happening, here with Youngstown State. What do you know about the Missouri Valley Conference? Because when you first were here, there was no Missouri Valley Conference. So what do you know about the conference and so on and so forth?
Very tough. I go out on the road. I see them when I'm recruiting, whether it's down in Tampa, Florida. You see the North Dakota States and South Dakota States, and it's very competitive. They got a different type of recruiting out that way compared to where this was maybe 20 years ago. So we got to be creative. I think recruiting is first and foremost going out there and finding the very best players that are going to be competitive. Right now, I haven't had a chance to evaluate, but I'm sure those rosters are very full. I see when, Northern Iowa took Iowa State to overtime this past year, I followed that closely and knowing what type of players they got in the program. And for us to catch up, and I wouldn't even say catch up, I think 36-44 league record the last 10 years, we got to look at ourselves and say, what do we need to do different? And I believe it's in the development of players that we got to invest as much as we can in developing our players on the field, off the field, in the weight room, in the speed, and build. We're talking Youngstown, so we got to be physical. We got to be tough. We got to be an O-line, D-line driven program. And that's got to make a difference when we go play those league games. I look at the flights. I mean, you're traveling. You're traveling quite a distance on weekends, so how we take care of our players. You get off a plane and you're playing a night game in North Dakota. You're getting off a plane and you're practicing on Sunday, and you got to get those kids rested. You got to get them fed, and you got to get ready to wake up the next Saturday and play another football game. So, but I think that's a challenge. I think that's a challenge that you got to look forward to, and I look forward to tackling that this fall.
Talked about a lot of the coaches that you've been around, like Coach Bickle and Coach Dressel and Coach Campbell. What have you learned from those guys to get you ready for this moment right here to start leading this program?
I think you look at how they led, and each of them's different. And each of them would probably say, you got to be yourself. And each of them have different ways of leading, and it was great seeing it. The Jim Tressel way, to what a Matt Campbell, how Matt led, and to a Luke Fickle. And, even Luke, I think Luke learned through time, he became who he is. Like, this is who I am. I'm not going to coach like Urban Meyer. I'm not going to coach like Jim Tressel. That you got to find who you are. And through this process, I wanted to go in when we went into the interview process, this is who I am. So if it's a good fit, know who I am. I want to be a CEO. I want to be a CEO of a program where I can hire the best coaches I can hire, who are going to be great recruiters, who are going to be great teachers, who are going to take care of their kids. And what I mean by taking care of their kids, they're going to build relationships. And in building relationships, you got to talk about tough things. First thing I talked about today, the word portal. Portal, that's the key word. And, it's so easy. Just jump into the portal and let's go find another place. That's an easy way. But as a coach, you got to do a better job communicating with your kids. You better know where their head is, because that is an easy way. So when you look at what all those guys have done to build a program, I think first and foremost, Matt and Luke, is they found ways to develop football players. They found ways to recruit, and they found ways to hire coaches that build those relationships with those coaches. So, and you got to do it your way. And your way is just who you are. We're not going to change who I am. So it was fun talking to them. Sometimes I'm going to make them laugh. Sometimes I'm going to work them hard. But ultimately, it comes down to winning football games, and that's what we got to do.
Doug, I know the first game's months away or whatever, but you're coaching in your hometown at the university that everyone kind of just, resonates with. So nervous? Maybe not today, but as time gets closer.
I feel very good today, Dana. I'm undefeated. I got no losses, but yeah, to say there's not a pit in your stomach, someone, I think I called Ron. Where's Ron? Is he? And I called Ron this week. I'm like, man, I don't know. I'm not going to say I'm beat my chest, but I think you always have that. That's human nature. That you're going to have a pit in your stomach, and do we all have self-confidence in ourselves? Yeah. Change is always tough. I've changed a lot. The only person in life that likes change is a wet baby, Dana. So, somebody can maybe put a front on, but let's be honest, it's hard to change. It's hard to move out of a comfort. Coach Fick always tells our players, you got to be comfortable doing the uncomfortable things in life. So to say this is uncomfortable, yeah, but guess what? Got both feet on the ground, and we're going to attack it, and we're going to have fun doing it.